I'm actually getting pretty excited about a vaccine. Just saying, I'd really like to be able to get back out there in the world, and I know you guys feel the same way, and I'm not going to go into it, but I'm getting, I'm actually starting to feel a little bit more optimistic. So, and I'm generally a pretty optimistic person anyways, but anyway, so I finished these up. Well, I don't know if they're 100% finished, but these covers, these are the ones that I had started a long time ago and just did some collaging on along the spines and stuff. And I realized that I know I said that I did these with the PVA glue, but I didn't. I actually did use a glue stick, and I remembered that as I was doing the other ones. And this is the glue stick that I used. It's the Scotch Permanent glue stick. The other one that I think is exactly the same as this is the Scotch Create glue sticks. And somebody sent me a box of this glue. So I think it was a thing of 18 of them. And it's exactly the same glue as the Scotch Create. I mean, I don't know that 100%, but I'm going to say that it works exactly the same. The texture is the same, all that kind of stuff. And it's really good glue. Like, it's just as good as any other glue. Don't let the fact that it's a glue stick turn you off, because I glued these at least a year ago, at least, probably more like a year and a half ago. And it's like just fine. Like, I mean, obviously I haven't been using this, but it's not lifting anywhere. And I feel like it's glued just as well as anything else, would have been. So anyway, so I did use the PVA glue on camera yesterday when I was gluing the cheesecloth on. But then after I realized that this is the glue that I used, then I switched, and this is what I used to glue down the paper. So I just glued some music paper onto the spines of all of these guys. These are the Lands and Peoples. Just glued some paper on there. I figured, you're not going to really see it all that much anyway, and then I was going to be covering it with the cheesecloth and stuff. And I love this music paper. This is the music book that I got from Renee at GT Designs, and she had sent me a few pages of it, or like, I think I saw it on one of her videos, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta have some of that music paper. So she sent me like half of it, and then I just loved it so much. I was like, what are you gonna do with the rest of it? And so I bought the rest of it from her anyway, and I just love it. I covet this music paper. Anyway, so I just glued a piece of it, just tore a piece of it and glued it on there. And then I also added a layer of the cheesecloth. And this is the extra fine cheesecloth. I did put a link in yesterday's video to where you can find this on Amazon. And then also for the replacement blades, I'll put a link for this glue on Amazon in the description, and I'll see if I can find that Scotch Create too. But the reason I like using these smaller ones sometimes is that it's easier to get the glue into these little spaces, like into smaller spaces, and it also glues fabric really well. So anyway, so I like using those smaller ones for tight spaces, but the Scotch Create is like a fat glue stick, actually a little bit fatter than this one. The Amazon Basics glue sticks, I don't use them where I need to rely on the strength of the glue to actually hold something together. You know what I mean? Like, to maintain the integrity of this spine, I will rely on this glue, but I don't necessarily rely on this glue. It's just a different type of glue. It's more like creamy, like more like, it's hard to explain, but this glue is like amazing. Anyway, So, but I did use the Scotch Permanent to glue down the cheesecloth. So anyway, and I'm not sure what more I'm going to do here. I haven't trimmed it yet, but what I think I might do is add another layer of this, but at the top, I'm going to fold it over. So you get kind of like that, you know, that folded over sort of look at the top and at the bottom. So, and it's so thin that adding another layer isn't going to really take up that much room in the finished journal. So anyway, so I did all of those. And then one of these guys, the how and whys, look at, so what happened was as I was cutting out the book block, I cut out this little piece right here. And then when I was cleaning it up, like I was showing you guys yesterday, how I just kind of go through and trim out all of the junky stuff, I accidentally grabbed a piece and like tore it because I thought it was just like this cardboard type of paper, but it turned out it was the cover. And so I ripped it off and now I can't find that piece. Anyway, but that's okay. I added some paper. I used some of the marbled paper that was an end paper from like a ledger, and I just glued it in there. So it's pretty heavy paper. And then I added the cheesecloth over the top of it. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. I might just add some ink. Maybe I'll add a piece of fabric that goes over or something, you know, maybe just cover it up. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just leave it. I don't know. We'll see. But so the rest of these, I did not add anything else. I didn't add the paper on these because I didn't rip them like I did that one. So these just have the cheesecloth. Okay. So they all turned out okay. I'm happy with them. And really that's just to add a little bit of strength to the spine. And I may wind up doing another layer of cheesecloth on these too. Who knows? I might do that. I don't know. Anyway, so what I thought we could do is look at some of the stuff that I've been putting in boxes and tubs and bins, different things that I have acquired recently over the last 6-8 months that I thought would be really cool to use in some super junky journals, just like totally like random things, paper things. But I mentioned that I would talk to you guys about taking these book blocks apart. These are from the How and Why books, because they're stapled and they're bound together with this heavy like twine and stuff, and they're kind of difficult to take apart. So I thought I would just show you how I go about doing that. This one, yeah, I really want to use some pages out of this, and I'd really like to maintain the fold. Like I don't want to cut these out. So I really want to disassemble this in a way that I can use the full page spread. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm gonna put my glasses on. So on the back, I don't know if you can see, whoops, that's the one I already did. So this one, it's actually, I think it's the next page, where you can see the staple. But anyway, so the first thing I do is I open this up somewhere in the center, and then I get my X-Acto, and you can see where that twine is binding the book together. There's, you know, probably 10 stitches. So what I just want to do is cut that twine. Now there are staples that run through the center or through the book block. So obviously I can't cut through the staples, but I want to cut through that twine. That'll just make it easier to pull this thing apart once I loosen up the staples. Okay. So yeah, and it's not going to really open up because it's still stapled together. Anyway, so then I'm just going to tear off this back page, hoping that I can find the staples, the ends of the staples. And then you can pull out some of the strings too, because now you've cut them. Okay, so sometimes the staple doesn't, you know, I'm sure they do it with like some giant industrial stapler, but sometimes you can't see the staple all the way through. So you just kind of have to look carefully and find, and usually they're pretty rusty. So I just use a flathead screwdriver and pry it up so that it's sticking straight up. And then I take off these, I forget what they call these. There's a name for them, but I can't remember. And then I'll try to, like, if there's excess material that is glued onto the book block, I use my pliers and just kind of like crunch it off, you know, at least so that I can see my signatures right here. So you want to be able to see where those signatures start and stop. Okay. So then I'll just go through. See, that one came off really easy. So then I just start pulling the signatures off. And when I get to where, you know, when I come to a point where I can't pull one off, it's usually because there's a staple that's holding it. So carefully, since the goal is to keep these intact, I'm just trying to pull straight up. Sometimes you got to turn it around, work from the other end, and then, you know, you can use your, like if you have a wider, like a butter knife even, sometimes that helps to just help pry up that signature. Okay. So you're always going to have these holes in the pages, but at least they're connected, you know? So you can start to see, here's one of the staples now, because it didn't go all the way through. So the goal is to try to get those staples so that they're just sticking straight up and down. And here's the other end of that one. Sometimes they've broken off, and so where this extra material is kind of grabbing onto my signature, as I work my way, you know, taking these signatures apart, I want to try to remove that if I can. I'm just trying to not dig my screwdriver or butter knife or whatever you're using into the paper, because I don't want to really damage the paper, you know. And then just, you know, kind of pull off more of this stuff as you go. It's better to not use your nice jewelry pliers to do this, but there we go. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then just continue on separating these signatures. Yeah, see, I missed one of the pages there. So it's actually, it tore that page. I missed it. Couldn't see it where it was connected, you know. So I don't know. I just think this is easier than trying to actually pull the staples out from the other side of the book, you know. Once you get to where you've only got a couple signatures that are still held together, then you can get those heavy duty staples out a little bit easier. be careful. Don't poke yourself, because there can be extra staples in there that you might not see. Sometimes they'll use 3 staples. Sometimes they use 2 or whatever. So just be careful you don't poke yourself, because they are rusty. Whoops. Sometimes I get too much in a rush, and I rip things, but okay. So now I've only got like 3 signatures still stuck together. So I'm just gonna take the staples and try to keep them straight and push it down on my desk. If you're super concerned about the surface of your desk, use like a piece of book board or something like that. So anyways, it's just easier this way when you don't have as many signatures still glued together. It's just easier to pull the staple out once you get some of them removed. See? Yucky, rusty staples. So anyway, so there is the rest of them. And now they can, they'll come apart pretty easily. So, okay. So that's how I disassemble these old, like textbooks. Most textbooks that, you'll find are bound this way. A lot of them, especially like the old readers, they're going to be bound with the staples too. So, anyway, so I have one more that I'm going to do, and I'm going to harvest a bunch of pages out of this one too. This one's actually my favorite. So for, for images, I thought it would be fun to use a lot of like children's book pages and stuff in these journals. So I actually pulled out some other like young person's textbooks that I have, like some readers and even like a couple of little golden books and stuff like that. So I thought we would just go through some of that stuff and disassemble a few things. So I pulled out these guys. So I've got all of these little, what are these? Rand McNally. I don't remember what the series is called. Oh, the little elf books. Start Right elf books. So I think these are all, well, this one's got a bunch of tape on it too. Looks like these are all just glued in. Yeah, these are all just glued in. So I'm going to set this one aside because I'm not necessarily looking for single pages at the moment. I'm looking for one of them that is sewn or stitched. This one is glued also. This one's super cute. I want to use some of this book. I'm definitely going to use some of these pages in, maybe just tuck some of the pages into pockets in the journals or something like that. But right now I'm just looking for things that I can use in signatures. So, okay, so here's one that is just stapled together. So I'm just going to open the staple up. And then I can pull the signature out. I like to try to remove the staples from these as I'm going along, because I don't want to poke myself later, or if I wind up putting this cover like into a cover bundle, because I do have I have a whole bunch of books that I want to gut, and I'm going to put together some packs or bundles of just covers that I thought you guys might want. So anyway, so here's a whole little children's book that's taken apart. So I'm going to put that in my, I have a little bin down here that I'm just tossing things into as I go. Let's see, how's this one put together? Find the middle. I think this one is glued. Yeah, this one is it? Yeah, this one is glued together also. Let's see. Okay, oh, here's a little kittens one that I think it's, yeah, it's sewn. I can see the stitching in there, so I'm just gonna take my super sharp X-Acto and just cut through that stitching. And now I've got a bunch of pages from that book that I can use. Aren't those cute? Cute little kitties. Okay, so there's another one. And obviously these pages are super cute. Oops. Oops. Now, I'm going to save that for something else. But anyway, so I'm going to go through the rest of these and probably take out most of the pages. This one, yeah, this one is stitched together too. I'm just going to cut this one apart real quick. Put that in my pile. Okay, so these are empty covers. These are books where the pages are glued in. Oh, I wanted to definitely do one of these. My toys. Okay, sorry guys, one more. Okay, so there's some more pages that I can use. Okay. I don't know for sure if I need that many, so I'll just put these kind of at the bottom of my pile. I'm going to put these in a pile of like ephemera that I can use in these journals. I usually have, like, when I get finished actually constructing the journals, then I go back and I put in all my tags and other little embellishments and things like that. Oh, look at that tape. Little embellishments and, you know, extra ephemera that I want to include in the journal. I just put that stuff out like in a tray, and then I'll go through each journal and pull from that tray and put stuff into the journals. It's really my favorite, I think my favorite part of like finishing up the journal. Finishing them up that way is my favorite part. So this is another book that is bound with stitching and with staples. Okay, so you can tell just by looking, you can see where that, where those stitches are. So same way that I did the How and Why book block, I'm going to cut through that cord. It really is like a white, like a twine almost. Okay. And then you can just kind of pry the cover off. Looks like the staple goes all the way through. Hold on. So I'm going to have to get a little violent with it. Sometimes sometimes easier with a thicker book because you can just bend these back and the whole spine will just pop apart. Of course, this one's going to give me a hard time. I can't tell you how many times I've jabbed myself with my screwdriver. So I try to be really careful about where I'm angling my screwdriver now. Hold on tight. Okay. Just trying to pull this apart. Okay. That's what I was trying to do. Oh my God. Okay. So now I can see my staples. I'm just prying up the edge, or, you know, does take a little bit of manpower sometimes to get those open. And then I'm just straightening out the staples, getting them to, so that they're just sticking straight up. Now I can see my signatures here at the bottom. Okay, so here's some of the twine. See, it's pretty thick, like cord. Oops. Oops. I might be able to pry these staples out now, so I'm just gonna, yeah, they'll come out now. This book block's not that thick. Okay, so now my pages are all basically free. Okay, so this is just a reader, I think. Yeah. So I put this in my pile of pages, in my bin. I'll put this in the pile of ephemera in case I want to use it for collage or something like that too. And I don't think I'm going to take this one apart yet. I'm going to wait on that, but I did want to do this math book. I pulled out a music book too. So that's why I'm not trying to do like, oh, if I wasn't doing a math book and the music book, I would probably do this other reader. Oh, love that. It's so cute. Oh, look, it just came right out. Okay, so then cut through this twine in the center or string or whatever. Since you sort of never know where the, see what I mean about the wider spine? Like, it gives you better leverage and you can just pull it apart like that. The staples are going actually through the binding right here. Can you see where I'm talking about? It's like going through the fabric of the binding in the spine. So because they did that before they actually glued it into the book, you know. So I'm sort of ripping that. It's real heavy duty, like canvas. There we go. There's the cover. There's my two giant staples. So then, same thing, just pry it up a little bit. Pry it up a little bit. Just enough to where I can grab it with the pliers. Really isn't that much on the spine, and I can see the signatures. Sometimes it works better to actually pull off like 2 signatures at a time. Especially if the paper is kind of brittle, or if you're afraid you're going to rip it. Grab 2 signatures at a time because it's a little bit more sturdy that way. Okay, so it's the same. It's just the same process. And all of these old reader books are generally bound this way. So anyway, but let me just finish this one up and then we'll get past this. And we'll look at some other stuff. I just don't want to leave these staples like in this situation. Okay, now I think I can probably push the staples through. I mean, you can try just pushing the staples out to begin with, but they're kind of hard to push through when there's that much paper to push them through, you know. I mean, those are some heavy duty staples. Oh, whoops, I missed a piece of it. Okay. So that's the math book. And sometimes I'll leave it in the cover that it came from, just so I kind of can keep it organized and I know what it came from, you know. Like especially if it's something that I really love the pages and I want to remember what book it came out of in case I find another one, you know. Anyway, so this is going to go in my bin, and then I'm going to also take apart this music book, and it'll just be the same process. So, okay, so those are going in my other pile. And then the rest of the stuff is pretty, most of it should be pretty simple. I found this, I just liked the paper in this little book. And it's full of all this really pretty poetry. I haven't read the whole thing. It could be something, Mount Angel College. But it has these really beautiful, like prints. So I definitely want to use some of this paper just because it's so cool. It's a neat color, and I love the images. You know, and I'm thinking this would be great to see if, you know, as pages in a journal, this would give somebody something nice to work on. like especially like if they were using it as an art journal or something. So this just has some staples. Where's my, they're there. So I'm just going to take these out. I might even make some envelopes or something. With some of this paper, I don't know. The cover is a little bit heavier. It's a little bit heavier than the pages inside. Okay, so that's a good amount. And then this is all pretty much blank. So this would be nice to maybe make some tags out of or something, since it's a little bit heavier weight. This could be used to maybe do some collage on one side and then just use it as tags. So I'm going to set the cover in a different pile to, you know, as useful paper. And then I have some ideals that I picked up recently, and some of the pages in them I really liked. So I thought maybe I would pull some of the pages out of this ideals. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them here. And these are all glued in. All the pages are glued into these, so they're usually not too terribly difficult to get out. Just try to tear gently, you know. And I'm just looking for things that I like or things that I think somebody else would like. Poems. This is what is cool about ideals, is just all the cool imagery, like these little, a lot of the pages in this book I like. And they would be neat to even use for making envelopes or something. My mother's garden. This is the fun part. And a lot of the pages that obviously I'm not tearing out, it's not because I don't like them necessarily. It's just I have to be sort of choosy on which ones I want to pull for this series of journals. I'm going to keep the rest of them in these, and then, you know, I can use them in other journals too. I like this page because it's got that kind of blue tone throughout the whole thing, and then obviously butterflies and flowers and green. I like the kitty. Before I got Jimmy and Judith and Journey now, I always like, I don't know, I wasn't like really into cats or anything, but now that I've turned into a crazy cat lady, I'm like, oh, kitties. Anyway, so there's a nice little stack of pages that I can do things with. Let's look in this one. This is the Easter one. It's pretty thick. all kinds of stuff in this one. Oh, this one is bound. Let's see if I can get that staple out. Yeah. Oh, there's a couple of them. There's a couple of staples in this one. I really try not to angle my my screwdriver in a way that if it slips, it's going to jab into my arm. Really, because it happens. So, or into my finger. I just try to keep my fingers and my arm out of the way. Okay. And let's see. These are glued together, but they're also held in with the staples, so it's kind of weird. Okay. So those are kind of fun. I don't know. I might use those for something. I'll put those in my pile of utilitarian type of paper. I generally don't use any kind of like religious material or stuff like that, or I don't mean stuff like that. I just mean I try to keep my journals very neutral, you know, like so that they kind of have an appeal to anybody, you know. So sometimes that's hard because some of the stuff is beautiful. Like I love like some of the poems or Bible verses or things like that. I want to use them, but you know, I don't know who's going to wind up with my work. So I try to just kind of keep them neutral, even though I get it. Like a lot of people would probably love that, but you know what I'm saying. You guys know what I'm saying. If there is somebody out there who would like me to take your name down and, you know, maybe I could save some of that kind of stuff and send it to you when it comes up. I love this border. I'm going to put that in my pile. Beauty. I love some of this paper. These are really cool pages. Like I generally won't pick up even like old Bibles and things like that. I just leave them for other people to work with because I wouldn't want to tear them up anyways. But I guess hymnals I will use for sure. But I like that. It is spring. Whoops. This magazine is put together really weird. Kids and dogs. Lots of good stuff in these ideals. I just love them. I think they're so cool. And actually, I think this might be the first time I've ever really used one of them. Usually I sell them in bundles and stuff. Those are cool. This is like craft paper. Talking about Easter in other countries. Keep those out. Aww. That's pretty. All right. I've used almost this, I mean, I've pulled almost every page. This is the subscription form. I'm going to put that in the stack of ephemera. And this one. Okay. I might use some of that paper for collage or something. I know I have 3 Christmas ones. And I know somebody's going to say, I want those, or I want one of those. I'm thinking that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these apart, and I'm going to include some Christmas stuff with each one of these journals, but I don't think I'm going to bind anything Christmassy in them. But I think that's what I'm going to do with these, is I'll just add some of these pages in like a little bundle with each one of these journals. And then I have some other Christmas stuff too that I think I'll just add in. So in case you want to use it as a Christmas journal, because I think I'm going to try to get these done. I might actually be able to get these done in record time. Just saying. Because I'm not intending to do like a lot of really complicated stuff with them. You know, I really just want to make them super junky and use up a bunch of this fun stuff. Okay. Some of it's kind of weird stuff, but so this is a book of EKGs, like how to read an EKG, which I thought was kind of interesting, but I love the paper. So I'm going to pull some pages out of here. So I just cut through the center binding thread. And then I can just pull out pages individually. Now the outside page of each signature is glued to the next one. So that one I'll just leave in there for now. And then I'll just go to the center of the next signature and pull out some more pages. And then once I've used all the pages out of the book, then if I'm still interested in using these pages, then I'll go in and tear them out, you know. But I've had people ask me, how do you harvest pages out of a book without tearing up the whole book? And this is how I do it. let's see. Let's go to the next. And when I do that, I just cut straight down. Like I just do like that. Or sometimes you can take your blade and go under the string like that. Okay, so I think that's enough out of this one. I don't want a whole ton of them, but I thought that this might be cool to make some nifty like pocket pages with. So I don't know, I might come back and pull some more pages out of it, but that's enough for now. And then I got all of these, this is all music. It's like this music course, this piano course. And each like lesson or like level or whatever comes in this like manila envelope. Okay. So I've used a bunch of these, and I've been saving these pages or these pockets or envelopes or whatever. I've been saving them because I really like the, you know, I like all of this stuff on the front of them. And so what I thought I would do is just try to make, maybe use these, some of these envelopes as like the cover page for some of my signatures in these journals. And then all of the pages, like all of the lessons that are inside, are cool too, like to use for, and I put a bunch of these in the music page packs that I sold in the book sale. Let's see, some of them are like, they're like literally lessons that somebody already did, 8th grade. Anyway, so I'll go through these pages and pull out some stuff that strikes my fancy, you know. Like I liked these because these were, some of the pictures are cool, and you know, I think these might be nice. And it's beautiful paper. It's really nice, durable, pretty like cream color paper, like the Two Jolly Friends, you know. And anyway, so I'll probably use a bunch of this paper in these journals, but for now I'm just gonna, I really want to keep those on top of my stack. Just taking all the lessons out of the envelopes for now. So I've got, you know, maybe 8 or 10 of them. So those are going to go in my like utilitarian pile of paper. Paper that's not going to be used as like, you know, pages, even though, you know, because it's kind of like cardstock weight. So these I really need to sort through and just pick out special ones to use. But and this would be a good weight of paper to make pocket pages with too, because it's kind of heavy. So anyway, so I need to go through those a little bit more in depth. I've got piles of stuff all over the floor. And then these maps, these are those like marine maps. I couldn't think of what they were called. So these I want to use. I'm going to cut these down. I got to get my measurements for the journal covers. And what I'll do is I'll measure the smallest, because there's 3 different books that I'm using, right? So I'll measure the smallest one and I'll cut these to fit those, because if the pages are slightly smaller for the other ones, that's okay. You know, I'm trying to avoid multiple cutting of the same thing, right? Like I don't want to cut them all to fit the largest one and then I have to trim them down to fit the smaller one. So I'm just gonna cut them to fit the smaller ones. So those are gonna go in my pile of pages. And then, oh my gosh, got all this music too. I pulled out some music that I wanted to use from the haul, the book haul that resulted in a book sale last week. So these are all Italian, I think. No, these are the French ones. So these are all French songs. And then there's, oh, this is the Italian one. So then there's the Italian one. So I'm going to pull some pages out of these. And I like that they're different. Like, see how these are a little bit darker than these. I like that. Not too many. I don't want to do a gazillion music pages, but I do want to use some. And then this one is really cool. I love this book, 5,200 Chords. So look at that. Isn't that neat? I love it. So I thought some of these pages would be fun to use in journals too. Think? Yeah. So this I'm going to put this in the pile with the lessons, the lesson pages that I want to use, because that is going to need more in-depth sorting. And then this is one of my other favorite books to use. Oh, I love this paper. This is the Architectural Graphic Standards book. And if you've never seen this book, it's literally, it's amazing. I love just looking through it. I mean, I don't know if I have to explain to you why I love this book so much, but it just has so many cool pages. It's literally like the measurements and standard measurements of everything that has anything to do with architecture, down to like the size of a toothbrush or the size of, shoes or gutters, canoes. It's just really, really neat. So if you ever come across one of these books and you don't want it, you can send it to me. I'll use it. But all of these just awesome drawings. And the paper is amazing. It's nice, thick, just super smooth, not glossy at all. It's totally matte, but it's just really, really nice paper. Sorry, I get all geeked out on it. But anyway, so I do want to use some pages out of this. So I'm going to cut. You can see I've already harvested quite a few out of here. I love using this paper in collage or just to make envelopes, because it's nice, like kind of oversized paper too. And that these are not glued together, so I can always pull out the last page in the signature pretty easily. I'm going to cut these actually going up. I don't know. Is this boring, you guys? This is also one of my favorite things to do too, just harvesting pages from all the books that I hoard you know. I'm going to do one more signature. I may come back and grab some more out of here to make envelopes with, but for now, I'm pulling these to use as pages in the journals. Okay. Back on the shelf. And these go in the pile. And then, let's see, what was this one? Oh, I remember. God, these are so awesome. Okay, I'm going to pull some pages out of here before I start geeking out on this book too. So this one actually has some really beautiful paper in it. Super, super pretty, nice texture paper. Obviously, I love the imagery too. So these are going to get used. I'm going to have to kind of go through and look at the formatting on each page to figure out how to use them in the journals. Like, I mean, like, because I'd like to try to retain as much of the image as I can in the books, but you know what I mean? So I don't know, like, I think they would be cool to use as pockets, maybe folded up part way or something like that. I don't know. But I know I had to just start cutting into this book. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. So there's a tiny bit of glue that kind of seeps in through the holes where they've done the binding. And so sometimes your pages do get a little bit stuck in there. But if you're careful, you can pull them out pretty easily. Okay, so this page is glued to the next page, and so is this one. A lot of these images, it's Beardsley, right? Yeah, I think it's Beardsley. Yeah, Audrey Beardsley. A lot of these images are open source, or not open source, copyright free if you find them in other places, but I can't scan them from this book because this book is copyrighted. So in case you're saying to yourself, why doesn't she save that and scan those images? And that's why. So you may be able to find these images somewhere from another source that's not copyrighted, but this book is copyrighted, so we can't do that. I'm not going to scan these. If this book was out of copyright, then I could. Does that make sense? We've had lots of conversations on Facebook and stuff about copyright, and I don't want to get too deep into it because, to be honest, I don't know all the rules about copyright. All I know is that you can't copy something that's in copyright, even if the images that are in it are not copyrighted anymore, like in general. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm not going to worry about tearing that one out. How many do I have so far? See, how many journals am I doing? Because I want to try to make sure I at least do one page in each journal. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 15. So I think I'm doing 14 journals. So that's all I'm going to pull out of here for now. Okay. I love this cover though. Isn't that cool? I think that would be a great journal cover. This might wind up in a journal or in a cover bundle or something. Okay, and then there's some other weird stuff that I thought was kind of fun. So these, this how to do it charts, I thought was pretty neat. Wait, where is it? Oh, that's the whole cover. It's a really thick cover. So this is all for like silk screening, for screen printing. And so it's just like how to silk screen. But I'm going to pull pages out of here to use in these journals just because I think they're cool, you know. This one is bound. All the pages are stitched together and then glued in. They're just stitched all together right in the center. So I'm just cutting through that stitching, each stitch. I better end this video because this is like over an hour now. And last time I tried to upload a video that was longer than an hour, it wouldn't even let me. So, anyway, so isn't that cool how they all just came out like that? So it's like this little, it's like a, ooh, and that's a nice piece of craft paper. Anyway, so I got all those pages, they were all stitched in one signature. So, and then this cover is kind of weird. It's like this really super thick book board, but looks useful. So I'll put that in the utility pile. Anyway, so maybe I'll do a part 2 on this and finish pulling all the stuff that I would like to use in these journals and kind of talk about how I want to use it and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, I'm going to end this video now, which, you know, is plenty, right? And then maybe I'll continue filming and we'll do a part 2. So anyway, okay guys, that's it for now. All right, pull out all your weird stuff and start pulling pages out of it and make piles of how you want to use it. Okay. All right. Love you. Bye for now.